All right, welcome everybody. This is the Torchbearer series interview with Melly De Los Santos, and I want to do a quick little intro for her because she is an incredible woman who's been through several of my programs and is totally killing it with her own business and does some really cool stuff. So Melly helps sleep deprived and stressed individuals, anybody, find the root cause of their anxieties through dream interpretation. She teaches her students how to create clear communication with their unconscious in order to find the best holistic approach for their needs in a process she calls dream healing. So, Melly, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I'm super honored to have you here in our Torchbearer series, and I can't wait to hear more about what you're doing and share your work with everybody. So, how are you? Let's start with that. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me here. I love talking about this and chatting with you, obviously.
Of course. And, I have to say, you are hashtag winning with the background.
Thank you.
You officially have the best background I think I've ever seen for a live interview. So make sure you keep that up on all your lives. So
I
tell
will.
us a little bit more about what is dream healing? What is it that you do with people? What does that mean?
Okay, so dream healing is the process that I call what you do with the message that you receive after you interpret your dreams. So a lot of people stop there, maybe
Yeah.
Google, look up what the dream means, and it's like, oh, cool. All right, it's telling me to make this huge change in my life. But the dream healing comes afterwards. What modality are you going to use? What are you going to do with that message? So
I love
that's what
that.
I do. Yeah.
Cool. You're right. I think most people don't, dream interpretation has been around for a long time. At some point, I'm sure everybody kind of goes through that phase of trying to figure out what their dreams mean. But how did you make that leap from what does my dream mean to I'm going to use it as a healing tool?
Yeah, well, this passion for me came at a very important time in my life where I was seeking alternative solutions for the panic attacks and agoraphobia that I was going through,
Hmm.
trying to get off the medication and all that stuff. It was a time where I really needed it. And I was already diving into meditation and a little bit of yoga here and there, crystals, just grabbing everything that I could that
All
would
the
help,
fun things that we love.
all the fun things, not even knowing what I was doing. But then I kept having a reoccurring dream, even though I was an insomniac at that time as well, which was also causing me health issues. I had a reoccurring dream. And once I had that aha moment, I was like, oh, okay. And all the tools kind of mixed together to help me. So that's why I thought, like, we have to do something with that information. It can't just be in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to actually, you quickly touched on your incredible background. Um, so let's get into that a little bit more because you have such a unique story. Uh, so start with I saw your post, the decade post. We're talking to each other at the end of 2019, and people at this time on social media are posting pictures or things from 10 years ago and what they were doing. And I saw your decade post and it reminded me of your background and where you come from. So let's start there and how you got into what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, I mean, 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, I was graduating with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and a specialty
What?
in computers. Yeah, huge nerd. I love all techie stuff. And actually, back then, I was always between psychology and engineering. Like, I wanted either
Wow,
technology or how the mind works. Always been fascinated by that.
that's cool.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of went with, you know, the a paycheck, kind of like
Yeah,
I love
a reasonable way
programming.
to go, Melly. Totally.
Yeah, I love programming and all I did throughout that time. But if I go really with my passion, I'm still really interested in how the mind works.
Yeah.
So about 7 years later, I started developing more anxiety, more
Hmm.
panic attacks, and agoraphobia. And that started in 2015. And that's really when actually was during my Saturn return, which I didn't know anything about that until I took your course 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And it kind of created this shift where it's like, whoa, I'm not feeling like myself.
Hmm.
But logically, I was like going to the doctor, everything seemed fine. I was completely healthy, just needed some vitamin D. And that's when I was like, wow, if it's my mind, I should be able to control it. I should be able to work through it.
Yeah,
And
it's tricky
now
business though,
it
isn't
was
it?
really tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did have professional help, saw a psychologist, saw a therapist, continued seeing therapy, and was able to get on medication. I did need it for about a year, but was able to wean off of it as I continued to explore more about myself
Wow.
with my dreams and yoga as well. Just really using those practices to tap into what was going on.
That is so amazing. So for those who don't know that word, agoraphobia means that you had a fear of leaving your house, essentially, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That, I mean, that's profound. You know, that's profound for you to have. I don't want to be over dramatic about it, Melly, but it's almost like you imprisoned yourself
I
in
did.
fear, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a period of time where I wouldn't leave my room. So
Wow.
that's like it even gives me chills remembering that. And
Yeah.
now this year
Gives me chills hearing
specifically,
it.
yeah, this year specifically, I'm completely online, but I was able to team up with like a group that does that supports native Navajo tribe,
Oh,
and
wow.
I taught kids how to make dream catchers, and we would do little events like that. So
Oh
it's
my
branching me
gosh.
out to, I mean, I would
Yeah.
have never thought of doing that during that period where I,
What a beautiful way to
people.
give back. Yeah, I mean, if you could go back to your 2015 self and tell 2015 Melly all that you'd be doing now, what do you think she would have said?
Like, there's no way, there's no way that I would be doing lives, videos, teaching,
Yeah.
and interacting. Yeah.
Do you know, I don't know why this popped into my mind, but I'm going to go with it because we can never question the unconscious and what it brings up, right? Do you know the myth of Ariadne?
No, I don't.
So Ariadne is a Greek goddess, essentially, and she is often, you often hear of her in correlation with the myth of the Minotaur. Do you know the myth of the Minotaur?
No.
So you're like a modern day Ariadne. So she essentially had her work, her test, her challenge in her own heroic journey was to go into the maze, the labyrinth, and to find the Minotaur. And the Minotaur is supposedly a very fearsome, terrifying creature, right? Everybody's afraid of the Minotaur, mostly because nobody has seen or met the Minotaur. But Ariadne had a trick because when people get into the maze, then when they get into the labyrinth, they often get lost. They get lost inside of this dark place that holds only what they most fear. So hopefully you're hearing the metaphor here, right?
Yeah.
Ariadne had a trick. She had a thread, and she used the thread like almost like breadcrumbs, Hansel and Gretel style, to leave a trail behind her so that every time she took a turn, there would be the thread behind her that she could, pull her way back out. So she made it to the center of this maze. She meets the Minotaur. She realizes that he's not actually a fearsome creature. He himself is afraid. And she finds a lot of love and compassion for him. And then she finds her way back out of the maze. So it's a very powerful story, and you very much remind me of Ariadne, having gone into that maze yourself, that labyrinth, the darkness, which was your own prison, the agoraphobia, the anxiety. And I can imagine, and and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because this is your story, not mine, but that when you're in that kind of fear place, not just that you're afraid of everything, but it's like you're almost afraid of the fear itself. It's like the
Yeah.
fear is of the fear. And when you start to actually meet the fear, these things lose their power. And I believe for you that what you found through your yoga practices, your astrology, that little brave thread that you carried into this darkness, helped to carry you out. So anyway, you should look up that myth. And
I definitely will. I love your myth
yeah.
storytelling. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I so rarely get to tell the Greek ones, right? I mean, I know I know the myths of the world, but I'm always talking about the yogic mythology. So Ariadne's, and I love the Minotaur myself. I have a deep connection to the Minotaur. So, for the dream world, like it's very much a maze. It's very much within the unconscious. It's very mythic. I mean, the dreams speak in the language of myth. So tell me, as you are finding your thread out of your fear, right? You're learning yoga, You were one of the first people in my online teacher training,
Yes.
and you graduated, and then you decided to nosedive into astrology. And where along this path did you learn about dream work and decide to make that your true focus?
I was doing dream work alongside the yoga teacher training. So
Oh,
actually,
cool.
your training was the first thing that kind of brought the spirituality and kind of got me thinking about it, like the
Oh, I
switch
love that.
between,
That's
yeah,
great.
between my job and what I'm doing now, my
Yeah.
passion. And I've always been fascinated by dreams, but I
Hmm.
don't know if it's something like just in the Hispanic culture that dreams are very superstitious. Like if you dream your
Yeah.
teeth fall out, someone's gonna die, or if
Oh
it
God.
hurts that it was someone close to you, a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff. So I was
Huh.
fascinated by it, but I didn't really correlate the psychology behind it
Yeah.
until that reoccurring dream that I was having. And I was just researching on my own until I decided to get certified and start just sharing it with everybody else who would help. So that's
Yeah.
mainly my passion. The things that have helped me work through that fear is what I want to provide other people and give them the tools.
Absolutely. It's such an incredible niche, and it's very unique. Like, I don't actually know of anybody else who does the work quite like you do. Um, of course, I mean, having studied psychology, I know plenty of people who interpret dreams, but not in this healing way that you really see dreams as almost like messages coming to you from the depths of your unconscious in order to provide a healing space. I think that that's really unique and such a beautiful confluence of all the other mystical practices that you also participate in. So, can you give us like an example? Let's say someone comes to you and wants to do some dream healing work. Like, what are some things that you would do with them?
So usually when people come to me for dream interpretations is usually what the what where they start
It's like the
is,
bridge.
yeah, the bridge. So we will they'll send me their dream, we'll talk about their dream, and I pinpoint the symbols that stand out, and we
Hmm.
kind of have a conversation. So I do share the universal symbols, but then you kind of mix it with the personal symbols, like what did
Yes.
that mean to them, and I ask a whole bunch of questions. But it's more like a journaling experience as well, because oftentimes they're like, oh, they get that aha moment, which is always what
Right.
I call it. I feel that if you Google or look up anything, or if somebody were to tell you, oh, that interpretation you came up with is completely wrong and this is why, that's so disempowering, and like walk the other way. Because
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
yeah, I'm
It's
never
not
going to
true.
say this is exactly what it is. We have that conversation,
Yeah,
and I help you get to that moment, that aha moment. And then
that's awesome.
from there, we create kind of like an action plan, action step, and where what tools can we use. So I mean, I'm your rabbit hole girl, right? I
You
have been
are.
through a whole bunch of certifications in like crystal healing, tarot reading, everything, even fairyology. I
Wow,
don't even know
girl.
how I was going to throw that in there. But what I found with the dream healing is that that gives me the ability to be like, okay, well, what are you drawn to? Because not everybody wants to do yoga. Not
Right,
everybody believes in crystals.
right.
So I do focus as well on essential oils. We can use some
Awesome.
oils to help you with that. We can use, create your little holistic tool to take with you once you get that message of what your dream was trying to tell you.
Melly, this is such an important point that you bring up, and it's something that I know that you hear me talk about a lot, which, there's two things kind of happening that you embody really, really well and embrace really, really well. First of all, there's the concept of being a modern mystic or modern mysticism that, people like you and I, as modern people who are into these various spiritual practices, we need to look to ancient history in terms of what the mystics of old did. And mystics have always existed. And historically, mystics have not really just practiced one modality. They've had many different things in their arsenal in order to be able to help the people that they're working with. This is what mystery schools were for. That in the mystery school, it wasn't like they only learned the physical practice to heal people's physical bodies. They also learned a form of astrology. They also learned a form of divination. They also learned a form of counseling, because they're here to tend to the souls of the folks that are in their area of reach, their area of kind of protection. So you embody that really well when you when you're like, I'm just going to learn all of the things, because you understand that modern people, we're not cookie cutters, especially Westerners. We like to be individuals, and the crystals that may work for one person are not going to work for the next person. So you have to have this wide, broad toolkit to help everybody. So I applaud you for that. And also this idea of being able to step into your role as a spiritual leader, which is something that you've done so well. You said, look, this is my niche. This is the thing that I do. But I also have this broad background that I can help a wide variety of people with. That's really awesome. I don't know about fairyology.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to take it that far, and I'm happy to go down a lot of different roads. But I just wanted to say that that's props to you. Good for you for
Thank you.
going for it. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your business, because, I think people who are watching our broadcast here or listening to the interview afterward, they're going to be hearing that, you are an incredibly smart, gifted, diverse individual with a lot of things going on. And you have this really cool thing that you do with not just dream interpretation, but helping people heal from the messages that they receive through their dreams. But you've also got a great business model. So tell me what your business is like. How do you reach people? How do you work with people?
Yeah, so I work with people one-on-one with my dream healing sessions is what I call it. But what I love to do is teach them how to use this tool. So there's some dreams you might not want to share with anybody, or you just want to wake up. It's so empowering to wake up and already have that relaxed feeling of, I know what that meant, now I know what to take. So that is really what I'm focusing on, and I'm doing that through my courses, but also through my membership. So
it's all online, right, Melly?
It's
you don't
all
have to
online. No, it's
awesome.
all online. We have our own website app that you can block out Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. Just dive in there, and there's two tiers. So the top one is the Dream Healing membership, where I teach you first how to sleep and then how to remember your dreams.
It's a tough skill, that sleeping.
Yeah, because people will come to me like, well, I don't remember my dreams, or, not see the importance. And so we really focus on that, how to have a better sleep quality, remember your dreams, and then how to interpret them and the different types of dreams. And I take you through this flow. And we also have group calls where I help you interpret them as well. So that's what I do. It's my little school of dreams. All of my courses are in there, and every month you get new content.
Oh my gosh, my heart is going right now. I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Thank you.
To go from, Miss Fantastically Successful Engineer with a deep fear, not being able to leave your room, to now having an online empire where you're helping people heal through navigating their dreams. It's quite something. I'm really happy to hear that you have an online business too. That's where my heart and my passion lies, because it allows you to be wherever you are, and you can help people wherever they are. So, it allows for scalability. It allows you to find your tribe more easily. How have you enjoyed having an online business as opposed to doing more things in person?
I love it. I mean, at first it was also the comfort, right, of being wherever I want to be, but also the thought of people who, I don't know if anybody watching is dealing with anxiety or to the extremes of agoraphobia, but if you're looking for those answers and you really can't because you can't leave your home, this is a perfect place to start. And that's where I want to reach out. I love also connecting with, I have some ladies in Canada that I adore and wouldn't have met if it wouldn't be for online, people in Europe that I've connected from all over the place, all throughout the United States as well. And we get to connect through Zoom calls like this as well. So I just love it. It fills my heart to be able to reach people and see them as if we were together.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's such a great neutralizing force to have our work online. I went online. I mean, Really, the first time was in 2005 when I started my first podcast back in the day, which was a long fucking time ago if you're doing math. You know, we call today the early days of podcasting. I started 15 years ago, so it was really early days of podcasting. But I remember being able to reach people in countries that I'd never even been to who were so desperate and hungry for higher education and yoga, who would otherwise never have access to it. And you having such an incredible, very cool, unique niche. I mean, if you weren't online, people in these other places wouldn't have access to what you do because nobody really is doing this. So good for you for being online. That's so great. I'm so glad to hear that. All right, let me think about what else we need to chat about, because you talked about your story, your history, where you come from. We talked about a little bit about the work that you do, that you're online. I know that you're also an astrologer. So how do you weave some of these other things that you do? Because I know you love astrology, and so for those of you that are watching or listening, Melly called herself my rabbit hole girl, because in my online courses, which Melly is in a few of them, I also have private Facebook groups, and I go live every week to do Q&As, and inevitably there will be a question from Melly that's like a total rabbit hole question, so I call her my rabbit hole girl. But anyway, I know that you're very into astrology, so tell me how you bring that into your dream work too.
Yeah, so I just created a new course, launching next month, Cosmic Dreams, where
Ooh.
we see our natal chart and also use that to interpret our dreams and kind of mesh the two together, by seeing what was going on in your chart at the moment of the
Wow.
dream as well.
Awesome.
I love, in my personal practice, I love using like dream journal. Obviously everybody
Yeah.
needs to have one.
Yes.
But I put the little glyph on the side of at least where my moon was, like where the
Oh.
current moon was, the sign and what house it was in. And inevitably, whenever it's around Chiron, my 8th house, it's something that's very deep, like really turmoil
Oh.
dream that is bringing up these things I need to work on.
Right. Your core wound.
Yeah.
That's Chiron's specialty, isn't it?
Yeah, so it connects both perfectly, because we have
Yeah.
these planetary energies plus our dreams, that they're all trying to communicate
Yeah, absolutely.
this message. So
Well, the influences and the archetypes and the energies are out there, you know, and for those who haven't gone down the rabbit hole of astrology just yet, our moon sign encapsulates our unconscious and our dream world. So that's why it would be important to understand or look at or follow your moon sign to have a little more insight into what your own unconscious is trying to communicate to you. Would you agree
yeah,
initially?
like
Yeah.
a deeper level to that unconscious message.
Right. And, you know, I mean, we can't underestimate the power of the unconscious to reveal, well, I would say everything, but like our most important truths, our most important desires, our most important lessons in life. So if we don't have the tools to be able to communicate with the unconscious, we are doomed to perpetuate our bullshit. So it's great to have tools that help us to connect with and communicate with the unconscious. And dreams are direct communication from the unconscious. So this is a really important skill to have. Amelia, I'd love to ask you, you know, you've referenced a couple of times dream journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure people have heard of it, but how would you recommend that someone begin or do a dream journal?
Yes, so I would recommend, I mean, even if you have like a notepad next to your bed,
Yep.
it doesn't really matter. But for me, I love getting a notebook that like I love, right? Something that you are dedicating to your dream work.
Yeah.
You could first grab that specific journal and pen. You don't really want to use a pen that you write bills with or homework and stuff. Like make
You want like a
it extra
dedicated
special.
pen.
Yeah, I mean, if possible. Of course, this is me like just taking it an extra notch, but
No,
you
I
want
agree with
to,
you. You want to keep it sacred because it's a
yeah.
spiritual practice that you're doing.
Yeah, and you can start with making like a dedicating your dream journal to these dream travels that you're doing. And for those who don't remember their dreams, like how are they going to start dream journaling, right? You can consistently every morning, just write, no dream to record, didn't remember anything, just anything of that sort, every single morning that you don't remember. And if you do, great. But that's going to rewire your brain into knowing that it's important for you to start retaining that information. Because if you've gone 20, 30, however many years not paying attention to it, I mean, your brain's not going to retain that. So that's kind of a way to reprogram it. And, you know, the more you do that, the more little pieces will come out, maybe certain symbols. I try to have a kind of quiet morning as I'm getting ready, because usually something completely out of the blue will trigger something of my dream, and then I'll quickly go back and write it down.
Yeah.
But that would be a great way to start.
That's a great idea. Do you ever recommend that people actually, before they go to bed, kind of prime the unconscious in any way for dreaming?
Yes, you can. I definitely love doing that too, setting the intention that that the dream that you're going to have is going to be healing and that you're going to remember in the morning. And another little clue for those who love crystals is lepidolite. I love programming that crystal. You know, you just kind of set the intention that's going to help you remember your dreams. And then I put it under my pillow. And then the next morning I put it on my third eye just kind of chill there for a little bit. And then usually, I mean, a whole bunch of dreams will come up, at least for me.
I love that. I love that you've gone from engineering to putting crystals on your third eye. You are so my kind of girl. That's awesome. Those are great suggestions, Melly. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us about what you do, the work that you do? Anything that you think, like, you know, when you're working with people that gives them a lot of aha moments?
I mean, the dream journal, most definitely. I feel that I did have somebody tell me that she remembered her first dream after 10 years of not remembering anything because she was taking my classes and watching my videos.
That's awesome.
So I feel like even watching this, like, just pay attention to what you dream at night. And yeah, I mean, just
it's a source of deep healing. It's communication from the unconscious. And, you know, again, a lot of what we do in yoga or other mystical practices, much of it is designed to create greater communication throughout the entire psyche between your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and also your higher mind, your supra-conscious mind. And this is a practice that really can't be overlooked, Melly, and I'm so glad that you're doing this very important work. Before we close out today, I would love it if you could share maybe 3 steps or 3 pieces. We're a school, right? I'm here for higher education and mysticism, so I want 3 homework items that our listeners can do for themselves moving forward.
All right. So on the spot, let's think of 3 homework assignments. First, get your journal and keep it next to your nightstand. And always date your dream. Yeah, just always date your entries. But what I would like to also suggest is title it. Like, afterwards, give it a title as if it were like a little book, a little chapter in your life.
That's sweet.
And once you journal it, circle any key points that stand out to you and just kind of take it from there. Reread it every night. Maybe that was more than 3, but reread it every night to kind of create that puzzle. They're like puzzle pieces.
I love that. So get your journal, date the journal entry, give it a title, and then reread it. So yeah, that's 4 items. I like that. Right. Melly, please tell everybody where they can find more of you and the incredible work that you do.
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. I'm at _dreaming_yogi. Okay. And the as in THE, the dreaming yogi. And on my website, it's thedreamingyogi.org. There's a little tab for my membership, and I blog and share all of that. All my details are in there as well, thedreamingyogi.org.
Awesome. Melly, it has been such a pleasure to work with you over the years, and I have absolutely enjoyed watching not just your business grow and blossom, but you as well. And I'm grateful for all the work that you do with all of your students. So keep it up. And thanks for being a part of my community as well.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for everything you've allowed me to grow into. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Melly, thanks again for today's chat. And I look forward to doing it again soon.
Me too. Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.